Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Conversations Abroad. From our previous episode, we had a good conversation introduction of our great friend of mine, Azarias. He lives in Maputo, Mozambique, and we have him here for another episode. And he's going to talk about his podcast that he currently has. It's in Portuguese, so if you want to learn Portuguese or if you already know, I suggest you give it a check out. But Azarias, so a little bit about your podcast. You mentioned that you were talking about the topic identity. What is it that? Why is it that you came up with that topic, and why is it so important?
Uh, yeah. I think first of all, talking like podcast. My podcast, the name of the podcast, like Vida Hub, like
Yes.
Vida Hub. So, as the name suggests, we talk about life, about things of life. It's kind of like a lab to discuss ideas we need to apply in our daily living. So, when I don't remember exactly how did it happen to me. I was thinking about it, but I remember I was thinking about someone who is my guest on the podcast. Like, I think this better. I've very hard talking about it like a couple times, like identity, and it was one of the things that I really felt through this season. I think over the last 3 years of my life, I've been dealing a lot of this question, like, who am I? What am I supposed to do in life in this world? And I've been like really struggling a bit with these things. Like people kind of say like, oh, I'm trying to find myself. I'm trying to figure out my place in my community. I'm trying to find out who I am through all of these things. And people do this kind of question, who they are in many different ways. And we can see that the way they respond to this question, the way they answer this question, kind of really determine the way they decide on other issues of life, whether career, whether the spouse or the person they really want to spend the rest of their lives, whether even like a girlfriend, even the clothes they're wearing. So and other part you find these people, especially now, if you've grown up in a city, it's different from growing up like in a country or in a rural area. Here in Mozambique, at least when you think about rural area, think about, as I was saying, like you have more of this like social structure that's well defined. People behave in certain ways, and whenever you try to do something different, they're like, no, this guy has lost himself. He doesn't fit here. It's like he has to be out of us. He's not one of us. So, and I think like here in the city, people feel more like lost, like they don't really know who they are, or sometimes they're trying to be rebels. I'm gonna do things on my own because people need to accept the way I am. At the end of the day, what I feel is like more and more people, more and more people trying to find ways to express themselves. They say, let me express myself. All they're trying to do, all they're attempting to do is just to really get to have an identity, who they are. And I think like the world, the social media era especially, has kind of like found a way, not only social media, but through media like movies, especially movies, uh, all the TV shows that we watch a lot, they have tried to find a way to define who we are. And most of it, while we get most of it, is not like a good thing. Today I was reading like I was reading I was like on Twitter, and I don't like to make like generalization from things, but what's quite really interesting to hear from this guy is like Timothée Chalamet. I don't know if it's the right name, but he says something like it shows like it's really tough to be alive in social media era. And I was like, why? How come it's really tough to be alive? What is guys talking about? But some people would say, no, this is something for Timothy. He's not strong enough. Maybe he's because he's famous. He's not handling all of these things enough. But no, I wouldn't say that this is his feeling, because more and more numbers and more data that we're getting through the ages, like more people living through anxiety, going through anxiety and depression. And most of it is caused because all these voices try to tell us we're something that we are not. Oh, they're trying to tell us that we have to become something that at the end of the day we feel empty about ourselves. So this topic is going to how do we find our true identity? And for us, like Jesus, God made us, and He's the best way, is the best person to tell us who we are, how we can really how we can really navigate through who we are in this crazy world.
Yeah, that's such a good topic. When I think about identity, especially in the United States, you have different types of identity. We have identity. The most important one, I think, and the more common one is our identity. Our identity is based on what we've accomplished. What are we doing for a living? What is our job title? And typically, if you do not have the nicest job, if you don't have an important position, then you have less influence. If you are low, you are considered very low in society when you do not have a high important position, and that sort of means that you're almost like a nobody. And what social media has done is that now more than ever, we look at other people's photos on Instagram or Facebook, and we look at other people's lives, and we look at our own, and we compare. And more than ever, my brother, he works as a in social, and he's a social worker. Basically, what he does is he's a therapist, and more and more children are being appointed to him. He's having a lot of therapy sessions because more and more people are just unhappy or do not have good communication skills. Why? Because of social media, because of the information technology we have today. And I find it very interesting that this philosophy is affecting the minds of Mozambique, that people are questioning who they are. And so those are just a few. I am important because of my position. I am important because of my economic, my wealth status, or this is what I've accomplished. These are the trophies. If I'm an athlete, these are the trophies that I have to show for. And for me, I believe that, but as a Christian, our identity comes from Christ. And a lot of, you hear a lot of people talk about that our identity is in Christ. Another big identity is through your politics. I am right and I am left. I am for the people, or I am for this, or I'm for liberty. I want liberty. And I believe that even in the church, we find ourselves putting ideas and politics before God, before what the Bible says. It's very interesting, and I really don't have any more comments to that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add something on what you said. Like this idea, you were mentioning this idea how like Americans more and more like people trying to define who they are based on their income and what their position, their titles. I think here in Mozambique, we say we grew up, especially our generation, that we had the opportunity to go to school more than most of our parents and our grandparents. Most of them actually didn't really go to school. And one of the things that our parents used to say is like, you need to be somebody in life. You know what does it really mean? To be somebody in life, it means you have to really have a degree. You need to have a good you need to have a good income. If you drive a good car, better. If you have a big house, better. And what they're trying to say, or they're trying to say, how to encourage us to go to schools, like, if you don't have any of this, you are nobody in life. And one day I was wondering, hey, my friend, wait a minute. Most of the people in Mozambique don't have opportunities to finish even high school. Like most of Mozambicans, no, I'm not talking about the capital. Even in the capital, people really, even they really mess up. It's not very easy to go to school actually, but okay, that's another thing. I'm not sure, but people really don't have this. They don't finish high school because they don't have conditions. They don't have an high school in their communities, so they have to stop maybe like on grade 10, and they have to really stop studying. Some of them, their communities just they have like they're like grade 7. So I was asking, all of these people, they are nobodies. The only people who are something, who are really considered like really people, are those who really in the cities, and those who really have like opportunities. And we can really start to notice by this kind of how society really defines who we are, that is not a perfect way to really follow. Even if you are in the upfront, like you're benefiting from this definition, you're standing up above everyone else, you can really feel like, if this thing is really putting down the people behind me, this is not really a good way to really define myself. And I believe, like, as we immerse more and more into knowing Jesus, we're going to find that we're going to really find the joy, the happiness, and all the the fullness we've been looking through all what the world and even our culture, or whether our parents, in my case, and on many people that I know here around me, that really Jesus is gonna be more satisfying for us, and we're gonna really enjoy life and really live it in a better way. I think that's gonna be helpful, and I'm really excited for this conversation. So if anyone really knows Portuguese, hope you can get tuned to.
You mentioned how we can make the decisions in life from youth to adult. So could you talk more about that? What is it? Do you feel as though as a Mozambican growing up, that there's lack of motivation, there's lack of mentorship, on your next topic of, identity?
Yeah, this is gonna be. Thank you for mentioning this. Gonna be the next topic after that. I feel like, even for myself, I really was blessed to have you in my life. I was really blessed to have like the people that I've had so far in life, especially like the grown ones, because they helped me to really see life. And I really have like I've had the opportunity to hear and to really hear like real life. Books are really nice because they help you to really have a better vision of life. But to live life is different. You feel the tension. You feel how the wind blows on your face. You feel how the heat comes over you, and you feel like it's hot because you're not reading. It's not like ideas. These are not like abstract things on your mind. And reality has really pushed me to really over and over. And what is happening is that everything is happening so fast. It's happening so fast. And now I'm like 25. Sunday, like next Sunday, I'll be 26. And I've gone like through crazy decisions in the last maybe 4 years in life. And most of them I've been asking myself sometime, how really those decisions were really good to me? Were the right decisions for my life? What could I have done better? What was wrong on that decision? What was right on that decision? And I don't think we need to make the decisions to do everything right in life, because there's no such a thing. But I think we can make wise decisions that will help us to really make consideration on what's good, what's not good on that decision. And we can learn to say, okay, I'm going to handle the things that the bad things that will come from that decisions. Or might not be the bad things itself, maybe the challenge that decision will bring to me, or the sufferings that decision will bring to me. Maybe let's say you're I want to be a parent. It's not gonna be easy thing to be a parent. So I need to really be mindful about what is the meaning of being a parent. Now I want to get married, and I was like, and what does it really mean to be married? Just means for me to have like another person just living under the same roof, and what is that? People are like, oh, I need to date. I need to do like career move, and as you mentioned, in life in general, I feel like for me in particular, was I was really blessed to have a lot of people to mentor and to really lead me through different areas of life, whether on love, whether in family, whether on my professional career. But I feel like there's this big gap. People really lack this kind of mentorship and people to lead them and help them to really grow, whether in life, whether in career, whether on family or relationship. So I think this is the reason I really want to talk about it on my podcast. I don't
If you,
know for you.
well, what was that?
Yeah, like for me, it's like that. I don't know. I don't know what you think of it. What do you think about it?
As far as making the right decisions in life. Sorry, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Like you're grown up. So I think you've gone through a lot of this. Yeah. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So
I
me
can hear
being
you.
me having experience, what would I
I think you
say?
can. Yeah. Sorry. Just to make the question clear, how it has been for you to go and navigate through different decisions in the various stages of life. I know you're grown up, so yeah. How was like that?
Uh, yeah, making the right decisions in life. Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I think for me is that we have to realize that we're living under grace. Without grace, um, man, God would have kicked me out a long time ago. But understanding that God as a father, it could mean so different to so many people. My dad was loving, but there's some dads out there that are very authoritative, and they're almost like military, and some dads, they just work, and there's so many different types of dad. But for me, growing up, I understood that my dad wanted to talk to me, wanted to have a relationship with me, wanted my best future in mind. So the idea of grace is absolutely important, because growing up, I made a lot of mistakes, and you know, God, who understanding who He is, He wants the best for us, and sometimes we forget about God. I was reading in the book of Jeremiah about how Israel basically turned their backs on God, and it's gotten to the point where He doesn't want anything to do with Israel. In fact, in one of those chapters, he talks about, I now remember the sins that your parents did in the desert. And for me, I think, like, as a child, I'm like, that's unfair. Why do the sins of my ancestors have to do anything with me? Well, really, it's because God has been giving us so many chances, time after time and time again, that Israel is the only place in the world where this is my people. This is a place that they're my priests. They represent me. And the enemy wanted to corrupt something, a small piece of land where you have the whole world that's been ran by polytheistic, multiple gods or no gods or all these other gods. But Israel was the middle place of the earth. So understanding who God was, what he is, what his desire is, for me to have that fear of God. If I would have understood that, younger in age, I feel as though as my life would have been a lot easier. And my experience in life was that if it weren't for his grace, you know, I probably would have been removed from the face of the earth. But we know that, you know, what Jesus did kind of helped us with that. So that's like number one. Understand, the sooner you could find lordship in Jesus Christ, the better things will be for you. What are those things? I have no idea. You'll figure it out. I'd rather, you know, it's a partnership. A partnership means that you don't have the answers right there, but you're figuring out step by step. Another thing is, I took the principle of Theodore Roosevelt Jr. His dad said, listen, whatever you plan on doing for the rest of your life, just remember this. If you find something that doesn't take care of you financially, that doesn't sustain you, then you'll find yourself being limited a lot in your life. So Theodore Roosevelt Jr., he's a president. He was one of the presidents of the United States back in the day. So what he did was he boiled life down to these three things: your morals, how are you doing? You know, understanding that. For me, my definition of morals is this: ethics is how do you behave where humans, you're not disrespecting humans. Morals is how do you behave where you're not disrespecting God. So Theodore Roosevelt Jr. said, his dad said, your first or most important thing is your morals. Your second most important thing is your education. And your third most important thing is your social life. So all his life, Theodore Roosevelt Jr., the way he lived was in the morning, he read as much as he could. I assume that he read his Bible. He understands, you know, the laws of God and how, you know, the moral structure of God. He read a bunch of books. He was able to read like 3 or 4 books a day. And then after that, at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, he always had some sort of social gathering. He was at a party. He was having dinner. He was hiking. He was doing stuff. So I've kind of like emulated those things where your relationship with God is very important, but a relationship with God and with no other people in this world, it means nothing. The one thing that God wants you to do is multiply. It's not just about yourself. It's not just about living holy where you're in your household and you're not interact with humans. It's meant to be shared. Jesus gave us grace, freely given, freely received, so you freely give. And second thing is, if we do not work in our education, and I was really, really terrible at school. I had a really, really low GPA, or I had really, really bad grade. I went to a really, really bad college. But the one thing I've realized is that you could be cast from society if you're not intellectually at the same level as they are. And for me, it took me a long time to understand that. And finally, if I were to speak to my child right now, is to there's no such thing as me, myself, accomplishing everything without nobody's help. Everybody needs some sort of help. And for me, if you're stuck in a group where you're the smartest one, my pastor always used to tell me, get out of that group and go to a different group where there's someone smarter than you and they're challenging you. Why? Because you're a product of your environment. If your environment is smoking, drinking, alcohol, not really don't have any ambitions, you're going to be just like them. But if you find yourself around people, and I have people around me that are dads, are great people, go to church, have businesses. My brother is an entrepreneur. Then guess what? I want to say to myself that if my brother is going to the gym and he's working out and he's doing this, I want to be just like him, and I want to challenge myself because it comes to an identity issue. If I'm looking at someone else and they're making all this money, if they're going through all this education, if they're experiencing traveling around the world, then I say to myself, what am I doing to what am I doing to myself? That's when I get down to prayer time. I bend my knees and I said, Lord, what is it that you want me to do? And then that's how I better myself. So those are kind of the things that I would say and give to the next person.
Great. I like that.
So it's can you give me a mic check? Because I just heard it's kind of sounds staticky. Yeah, I think your microphone is gone.
Really? Can you don't?
Yeah, it doesn't come out very good. So what I'm gonna do is this. We hit 20 minutes. So this episode right here, we finished up the second one. So I'm gonna hit stop record.